Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. So I had something I really wanted to get done today, but it's kind of cold outside. As you can see, I got the pellet stove going and I'm in the house, and I had a project that I really wanted to get done, and I had to be really clean for this, right? And some of you guys could probably guess, my wife is not home. Haha. So here I am in the kitchen working on this. Some of you might recognize this project. This is the Lakota. This is the head off the Kawasaki, I believe it's a 2000 Lakota. And what happened to this thing is, this bike's from Pennsylvania. My son bought it out there. I gave him my Lakota, and he got this Lakota. The person he bought it from said that it was idling. He was getting ready to take it for a ride. It stalled, and it wouldn't restart. And he pulled the string and tried everything, and it just, with starting fluid and the whole bit, it wouldn't restart. I did a compression test on it, and it came in a little bit low. And then what I did is I did a leak back test on it. That's when you turn the cam or turn the crank such that both valves are closed. And I heard a slight leak through the intake. I took it apart, and it turns out the timing chain was loose, so it jumped time, and when it jumped time, the intake valve barely got hit. Just a tiny little bit it got hit, but it was enough to put a little, just a hair bend to the intake valve, which now you got an intake valve leak. I bought a new valve, and I had actually put this whole thing together. You know, you put the valve in, right, just like that, and you put some compound on the valve, and you get this thing here, and you stick it to the valve, right, smack, and you run it between your fingers, and then when you're done, you look to see that you have a line all around here, just one line, and you have one line on the valve seat, and I think you guys could see that. Let me get out of the light. See how you have that nice line on the valve seat, right? And you want that to go completely around, right? So now you're all good. Well, I had gotten that far, and one of my subscribers, WTBM123, he goes, before you put it together, make sure that you're really, really careful with the valve grinding compound. You don't want to leave any of that behind. You don't want to leave any on the shaft here, right? You don't want to leave any on the shaft. You don't want to leave any on the guide down in there. You don't want to leave any on this surface. You don't want to leave any of that stuff anywhere. And I had done a pretty good cleanup, but I wasn't completely positive. So I stopped at that point. And that's where this bike had stalled. So now it means you got to take the whole thing apart, right? And you guys are familiar with taking valves out, right? Yeah. Put them here, you get one of these things here, right? You squeeze in on it. It pushes this thing in, right? The end of that in. And you could take the two valve keepers out. Well, the last thing I wanted to do was work on that outside in the cold and the damp and the ugly. So what I did is, mostly because I was afraid of losing the valve keepers. Not only that, it's kind of hard to get things nice and clean outside. So I wanted to do it in here where I could do what I considered a better job on it, and I did. Now what I got to do though is I got to get done before the wife comes home, or I'm going to catch a whole bunch of grief. I don't know how many of you guys sneak in and work on the kitchen table, but it's actually nice, right? I got these bright lights, right, that shine down. I mean, it's comfortable, it's warm. I mean, it's really a nice place to work. But on the other hand, I'd rather not eat my dinner out in the garage. So this one-time type thing, I'll get away with it, but no more than that. So I'm going downstairs. I'm going to get some oil and make sure I oil up the guide and all that. Oil up the spring, make sure the spring's clean. I've wiped this out like 3 times. I've run these up and down the valve guides to make sure the valve guide is nice and clean. I wiped off the valve 3 or 4 times so that we don't have the smell of solvent in the house. I've been using extra virgin cooking oil. I got to tell you, it really works good. It coats everything, and then as it's flowing out, it takes everything right with it. So it makes it's excellent. But I am going to lube. I'm going to wipe it down and then lube up everything with some nice motor oil to make sure it's nice and slick for when I put it all back together again. So I hope you guys are staying warm. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and please get out there and enjoy all your days and stay warm. We here on the Northeast, we got about 2 weeks of cold coming toward us. Normally, sometime after Valentine's Day, you know, you're getting more 40-degree days than you're not. So, but it looks like from now until Valentine's Day, we're going to be seeing a lot of them cold ones here. So stay warm, stay safe, happy. Remember, enjoy all your days. Thanks for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Bye now, folks.